Promises are pretty notorious topic, and that's why I decided to take on this topic and to talk about some bad code that I have seen in a recent time. And I'm not going to go in a detail, but just to talk about, like, there are multiple things like a resolve, reject. You also have a then, and you can basically leverage these constructs of promises to decide how the flow of your code will be. So in this video I'm going to touch upon some horrible mistakes that I have seen doing, and I want to tell you why they are horrible and how you can like avoid them and what are the alternatives that you should do instead of those code snippet. Before that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. The YouTube stats says that around 98% of my viewers have not subscribed to my channel. It's totally free for you guys, but it gives me a motivation and cheers me to do a similar kind of a content. The first one, as you can see on the screen, is the pyramid of doom. So I have seen this kind of a mistake done by developer multiple times. So you have some promise. So here I just have fetch just like get some data from the external API, and then we have a then and then and then and then, so many thens one after another. So it basically tells that once this operation happens, go to the next. But this code is pretty ugly, and as you can see, it is unreadable as well. Not just unreadable, but if there is something breaks in between, it basically breaks the whole chain, and you have to find out, and finding out where exactly it broke, for what reason. Debugging becomes extreme nightmare if you have code like this. So what to do? So instead of this, you can have something like this. You can utilize the async and await, which has been introduced in the ES5 or the ES6. I think ES6, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong, but async await is a pretty cool alternative for this pyramid of doom. You don't have to use then, and it makes the code looks not just more readable, it is also very predictable. You know that, oh, if something is breaking over here, then I know what will be the second step, and in that way you can also like handle it betterly. You can maybe put a try catch and then go on deciding how the flow of your program should be. Okay, talking about the try catch, I want to bring up next mistake related to catching the errors. So if you ever have written a catch like this, where you have a catch and then error and doing nothing, and it is just nothing, what you are doing there inside a catch, if you're not putting anything, that means you are telling just solve the errors, don't do anything, just silently break and don't even console log or the print or take any action, nothing. So if you have a catch block like this, where you have the error offset and you just have empty catch block, you are just like making it break silently and not doing anything. When you write a then line like this, then response res JSON, you implicitly tells to this then block that return the response.json, because it's an arrow function, it's a single line function, and if you're using arrow function, you don't have to write the word return like explicitly. Many developer unknowingly do a mistake like this, where they will not return anything out of this then block. So you have a then and then just res.json, and you have opened the arrow function over here, you forgot to return here, there is no return. That means that when you have a next then, or you have something next step, maybe like output of a promise, there is no output of a promise in this case, because you never return it. Like it is there, it is present, it maybe have been received from some external API or whatever asynchronous task, but you never return that. That means in the next consecutive steps you are going to have that result as undefined. And since we talked about the async await, I want to tell you that please don't mix up the async await, and it is very bad. I mean, see this, you have a async function, inside that you are using an await, and where you get the response, and then on the next line we have the some another promise that returns something, and then we have a then, and just there is some console log inside it. So I think mixing up these two things doesn't make sense. It just makes your code unreadable. I mean, async await were designed or introduced to make your code more readable and make it more cleaner, but mixing them up is definitely not a good idea. Talking about the then block, I want to tell you, then block is not the only thing that you need when you are dealing with the promises. You also need to have a catch. So fetch API, if it returns a response positive case, you will have the JSON, but if it doesn't, then you will have nothing. Your code, your program is basically stuck there at this point. And now I'm going a little bit in depth. If you're using a promises at its granularity, like I like to do, if you are using the resolve and the reject, you're creating your custom promise, then be careful about it. Like if you are using a resolve, that means you have resolved the promise internally. It says that the promise has fulfill its purpose, it has completed the task it is supposed to do, and you are good. It's a positive case. And if you do a reject instead of resolve here, that means something is broken, the promise has not completed a task that it was supposed to do, and it will land up in the catch block. So it's as simple as this. If you're using a resolve, it will land up in the then. If you are using a reject, it will land up in the catch. Also, one more thing is that if you like to use the callback inside promises, that is also not a good idea. Like I have here a cb function invoked, which was passed to my original parent function, and it basically complicates your stuff. You have promise and then you have called the cb. That cb will continue to do something internally, and then you have a resolve. That means maybe a cb internally can have potential to block the resolve. It depends on what you have inside a cb. Maybe you are doing some asynchronous activity that never ends, so it has a potential to block your resolve. Be careful about using a callback function instead of promise. It's also called as callback hell. When you pass one function to another and that gets invoked in that function, you have to be very imaginative to understand the flow of your program in that case. Next thing is wrapping promises inside of promises. So if I have a function like these two promises, and inside that I'm returning a new promise which has a resolve or reject, and that internally having another promise which is having do some asynchronous things, and then we are basically returning that. So it is also not a good idea. Let me tell you why. Because your promise supposed to have a resolve or reject, but then you are basically introducing a next level of uncertainty here on the line number 59. You're telling do something asynchronous, and if that succeeds then resolve, if it doesn't then reject. That means your outer function have no idea, absolute no idea, whether it is going to resolve or reject at any point. That means it can be stuck forever in its lifetime. It makes your code more prone to behave weirdly, so you better need to avoid this. One more thing, I have seen people using a finally. I think this whole concept of try catch finally comes from the Java. I have seen like the Java introduced them first, and I don't know how many languages it has, but unfortunately JavaScript also have a finally block. That means you can have something like this. You can have then, you can have a catch, and you can have a finally. But the thing that I want to tell you here is finally doesn't have a data of your then. It doesn't simply have a response of a then or your promise. If you're expecting that finally have the data and then you can get it inside here, it is always undefined. Finally it doesn't receive any data or the result of operation of your promise. You might ask like for what purpose we have finally. So finally is mostly for like the cleaning up purposes. Maybe you're deleting the some unused variables or performing some cleanup operation, the garbage collection, or whatever you want to do there as a result of execution. It doesn't matter whether it's a succeeded or the failed. Irrespective of that, if you want to perform certain steps, you can do that in the finally, but finally doesn't receive a data that you have in the then. And I saved a best for the last, which is promise.all. I've seen many developers using this, and I also personally like to use it. But the main catch with promise.all is it basically halts its execution if at least one of the promises is failed. So for example, if your promise 1, promise 2, promise 3, promise 4 working, and the promise 2 fails for some reason, you will not have promise 3 or the promise 4's result at all. It will basically halt at that point. So be aware of that. Good thing about the promise.all is it executes all the promises in the parallel, but one of it fails, then you have the other promises also fail unnecessarily. It's like a domino. If one of the slit falls, then entire domino falls. This is also very interesting. You can use a promise.race. With the promise.race, basically it gives a preference to the promise that completes itself first. So if you have like a promise 1, promise 2, promise 3, promise 4, something like this, it will evaluate the result of the promise that has completed first. So that's it for this video. I wanted to just tell this common snippets mistake that I have seen in a code. And again, a reminder, if you like my content, subscribing to my channel is a really great way to show us support. Thank you for watching.